See, I'm already testing new stuff. Let's call this Shaman After Hours. So I'm taking secondary footage. There's my nephew. Good night, Andrew. See you in the morning. Sleep well, dude. He's traveling, passing through. So there's been a lot going on. So I suppose what's going to happen, I don't seem to have access to this camera. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to leave that be for the moment. Um, yeah, after hours. So I'm calling this live test number 2, simply because it is that. There is much for me to test, to get accustomed to here, as I dive into doing this on my own. And one of them already is this dashboard. Okay, so get back to people. Right, so that's just going to pull secondary, and then chat, if anybody pops in, is over here. Okay, cool. All right, so I'm going to run through testing features, and one of them was this secondary camera, which is no bueno. What's up, dude? Still working? Yeah. So I'm just I'm testing some stuff out here. Um, it's been a long road to get to this spot, so I want to make sure I do it justice. So I'm just gonna test a few rounds and feel this puppy out before I launch into the ideas I have for this platform. You know what I mean? So what you doing tonight, man? You working? Working on what? Can you say in public? Is it going to get us both potentially shot at? Because I don't think they'd be successful. But shot at, perhaps. Whatever. Let us know what you're doing. That's another thing. I'm glad you're there. If you want to say something else, I want to test this right here. Yeah. Okay. So that I adjust by flipping over here to close chat. Right, brand. See, that's a lot. So tell me, was that too bold? Highlighting your, I think I'm just going to let it. I mean, if I want to highlight something, I want to highlight it, right? It's for a reason. All right, there's nobody in here with me. There's public. There we go. So 100. And then how do I, 10 seconds. Okay, so I can adjust. See, here we go. I learned by doing. What can I tell you? I learned by doing. That's about all there's to it. So, okay, I can go up to 20 seconds. All right. So hopefully there's somewhere in settings where I can even just, where it, timer off. Okay, so if I click show on stream, yeah, that's see, so it's 20 seconds. Okay, show on stream, I believe. Yeah, and I can choose to go ahead and hide it. Local currency was not converted to USD, even though they are 1 to 1. Ouch. Lawyers, guns, and money. Okay, well, you're going to get, seeing as how it is, do it. Just do it. Do what, man? You do, I know what I am doing it. What does Yoda say? There is no try. Do or do not, right? So just doing it. So what you're gonna see me attempt to do is I want to look at efficiently using some maps here, and I want to look at how I'm gonna show you guys videos, not videos I put out, but videos that I've just made. So we'll probably look at some old waterfallish type pictures, seeing as how it's late, and if anybody tunes in, they might want to see something calming. So I should also probably keep my inside voice, if Now, see, I've got a closed chat to check my mic level, so I'm just going to hope that it's right. And we're going to pop over here and look at a video, and I'm going to play real quick with some formatting. And then I've already, so I was also live testing. You can check in with your phone, and I was hoping that meant I could like go outside and look at artifacts. But instead, I guess I'm going to have to continue to bring them in here, and we can take a peek at them. Whatever the itching translates for you. Okay, so anybody watching now, let me hear. So let's make sure we get you. So we've got do it, just do it. Okay, this is for later, not anybody now, right? But all right, and then now I can hide. Look, there we go. I'm learning. Okay, and then this, whatever the itching translates for you. Now, can y'all imagine what this dude's like to hang out with in person? It's a trip. I'm messing with you, bro. Yeah, I was happy to hang out with him at the beach. That's all we could do. We could look at pictures, you know. So, now, for anybody watching this later, I have excellent plans for this show, and I've been discussing with that's what I call it. I grew up. Can you tell when I grew up in the '80s? Discussing with people all day about how best to make use of this time and how to pull in, you know, different itches that are not scratched by other, you know, content producers, if you want to think of it that way. The driving force here, obviously, learn the keyboard shortcuts. Well, you know, okay, look, just learning how to. I think, man, you know, I think I got it with mouse. I mean, really what it's going to boil down to is mouse and tabs. Once I get all the settings where I want them, this suite is rather, you know, it's got some options in how you can make things look. But with me going live, unless I just want to play around with recording, you know, that's not how I work. So again, I learn by doing, and God bless you, bro, for tuning in and giving me some text, because that was one of the big things I wanted to make sure I was getting right, which is that there. And size, and I can click hide down there. I adjust back in brand. No, in text. Brand font. Okay, edgy. It's not, it's got color. It's not letting me do anything with the size though, which is odd with all the other options. Okay, so back to you, dude, in the chat. All right, learn the keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, whoa, what was that? No. Dude, that okay, so that is 80s typewriter is what I just did. So I really I can mess with this later. What I really wanted to check was that I got the boldness correct, which is what I just messed with. So now I'm learning those moves without. If you'd quit talking to me, no, I'm kidding. You don't. So part of the goal too was to get used to sort of hanging out with myself, right? You know, having done this now for 6 to 8 months, you know, nearly, with other people, either being interviewed or interviewing others or co-hosting, getting used to simply, you know, doing this on my own live, you know, being here with myself was part of the aspect of this. But now if I go back to brand, and yeah, I didn't change font. That's just what happens when you go with edgy. So the only last one we can check is fun, and you've said something else. So show on stream. Yeah. Yeah. No, that looks too proper, doesn't it? That's not quite probably going to fit here. That looks a little too public television, if you ask me. Okay, so PBS, nothing against, well, I mean, back in the day. I know it was all propaganda, but, you know, fond memories, Mr. Rogers. Okay, closed chat, back to brand. So clean. I mean, while we're taking the time here, you had one more. Yes, odd. Show on stream. Clean. Yeah, again, 2 Pro. Okay, so I have decided on, what did they call that? Bold. Okay, cool. Yeah, man. So I had a guy, when I was in sales, it's been a long day. Sorry for clearing my throat. I got to learn to. There we go. Okay, so again, after hours, I gotta keep the late night DJ voice going so I don't startle any friends that tune in. Okay, I don't even know where I was going there, Tree, because you forget, and you got people walking around that you're trying to forget that you're being recorded. That's all part of this learning process of learning to, you get comfortable doing it with other people, and then sort of doing this on your own. It brings back in all that whole, people are watching thing. It's very different than these videos, which I'm about to share to make sure I get the sharing right. And one other thing I noticed I did wrong the other day is somehow when I exited out of here, I pulled my first live stream off of YouTube. So it's no longer in existence. So no, I'm kidding. I still haven't. I had to upload it, but the lives look empty. So we're going to test all of that now, and I lost where I was going because I was going to try to do this after hours, but we've got a guest here at the end, and I was going to do it because I wouldn't have all this movement, and that throws off the storytelling. Nothing against anyone here or watching. Happy they're here, but the storytelling goes. Yeah, the yellow waterfalls. Yeah, here we go, dude. You work too much, otherwise you'd have producing a tab right now. I could still send it to you, you know that? And you wouldn't have to be on here. You could just handle all this shit. All right, here we go. Okay, so back over. And we should now have open our multitudinous of waterfalls options here. Also share audio. That was a tab I was afraid I messed up yesterday, but I did not. Okay, so here we have Lookout Mountain. And what I'm also going to do is open myself a Google Earth tab so that I can be diligent in making sure. No, I don't want Google Maps. I want Google Earth. I'm able to keep everyone aware of where we are speaking about on this planet of ours. Right. No, do not need extra. No. Yeah, so Tennessee is fine. Okay, perfection. Okay. All right, everybody tuning in to our quick test. We're going to let myself share this tab instead. That is an excellent option. I can hop right over here, zoom out, and let me hop back over. See, this is where a producer comes in. We don't want that. We want, now that we're screen sharing, to switch our layout to something much more like that, because that is, well, that's also fairly handy. Okay, the question is, though, can I minimize and do both? I cannot because it is a separate window. So I got to leave you guys, maximize, and head over here. What you're looking at is a map of Alabama. I sit here in central Alabama, the site of the Battle of Mobila between Tuscaloosa and DeSoto. Here in North Alabama You have the southern end of Lookout Mountain, which runs from Tennessee down through Georgia and into Alabama. On top of Lookout Mountain, you have Little River Canyon National Preserve. As I zoom in, the words go away. There they are. And you can begin to see the Little River Canyon. These videos, which I will test run here for a moment, are filmed in an area known, coincidentally, there's the town of Mentone, one of my favorite towns. This entire area, guys, is magical. Words could not do it justice. Videos will not do it justice. But truly a magical place for many reasons, and I believe some of that has to do with what's there, as you'll see. So here we have from the Little River Canyon National Preserve up right in this area, DeSoto Falls. So this is the area. See all these woods? There's a lot of rocks in these woods and some waterfalls along the way. So now my job is to switch back over to the waterfalls, share this tab instead, and continuing with, you see, the waterfalls. I can't do just the waterfalls. That was my fault for saying that. But what I can do is an excellent little walk along the water. Okay, so I put these here in order. So now your host needs to run through his head. Let's go through the woods for a minute. Let's see what that looks like. All right, now I need to blow up, and I can still see perfect, and minimize there. Okay, this is just a video for my friends. So if you're seeing this, you're a friend. This probably was not the best one to start with. Can you hear that audio over there in chat? Did you hear what I said at the beginning of that? All right, now I got to get quick here. Okay. You still there? Tree, or you're working? I bet he's working. Okay. So there. So this is the west fork of the Little River. Look at that thing. This place is you're walking on a pile, as you see there, of rubble. So this, now let me test this setup. Okay, open chat. That's going to pull me back there. Okay, cool. All right, and let me test the, all right, so yeah, it's about tab management, really. Shortcuts don't necessarily do it. So let's, all right, bam, here. Okay, let's take a little stroll along the water. There was one I thought would be cool, at least for myself, that's sunset. There's a 10-minute one. That might be longer than I need for a test. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, but only 40 seconds. I need a couple of minutes to make sure I can play with the audio. Okay, let's just go where we were. Would you hurry up? You're supposed to be very efficient at this. You're not doing a very good job. See, that's, that's the, I don't know. Which voice was that? Was that negative? That wasn't very negative. That was sort of telling me to hurry up and do what I'm supposed to be doing. One gets the impression of walking on pieces, right? And as you look around at the bend, there's something the size of your house. And down here at the bottom, there's these, look, it's a flat sheet, right?
like what I'm standing on, sheeted. Even if the water's flowing through here, I can put my hand up under this. That's 2 inches at best. There's these big angular hunks.
So there's Sarah, part of the Universe Unveiled crew, Sahara Cosmos, who's all over the place as well. She's doing Mars Disclosure with us, which Sarah is turning out to be a pretty popular little chat group. You've got Brian Corey Dobbs coming in, what, 45 hours? So listen, let me, I can let this play and tell the story. So I logged in earlier and I'd been putting off when I was going to come on basically all night because I was like, I'll do it afternoon, but life just took over. And then so I was like, all right, 6 o'clock, let me just pop on and do these tests. And Dan Richards was on with Robert Dakota doing their presser for the Sedona event. And, you know, those are two cool dudes. That's a cool event. So I was like, no, let me, you know, watch this. And then I'm like, okay, I'll do it at 7. And then I check over in our Discord, and Jeff from Jeff Up North was going live with Michael Collins, Wandering Wolf, live. So I was like, no, we're going to do After Hours Shaman. And I've already lost my After Hours radio DJ voice. So let's go back to testing audio. And speaking about Sarah, Universe Unveiled, check them out. They've got Brian Corey Dobbs coming up with Mars, all things Mars. Brian's quite the architect right now when it comes to sort of spearheading this Mars disclosure and all these independent researchers.
Look at this. See what I mean about the Masons at Sacsayhuaman? Okay, this is one piece. You know? Wearing that does not come from water. Oh, look at this. This is quite interesting. West Fork of the Little River.
Okay, now let me get back to video management.
Disaster.
Look at how big that thing is. I mean, would you really just, you know, that's part of it is you've got these little pieces, and would you just look at this? Would you look at it? Would you just look at it? I mean, I don't, you know, just, yeah, man. So speaking of, we need a longer video to give a few more minutes of this. And I think, okay, so I need to go back here. Yeah, there we go. So let's go with, there's a nice 10-minute walk where I continue. There's 432. It looks pretty. But let's do, yeah, just so we can see some of these sizes. And I like the way the widescreen and the aspect ratio is turning out. So
here at the West Fork branch of the Little River, I'm going to attempt a quick scamper along to show you some.
So, yeah, just in case, I see a couple more people tuning in, and before I decide to end this thing, this is just a general test, everybody, not only for me, my first time being sort of behind this dashboard, but also you're going to see, I'm sure, over probably next week, I will be keeping all, regularly scheduled programming. I think having these varied platforms is an important thing, and they were all started for various reasons, and so me and my work doesn't necessarily need to hijack all of those. So here we are. Yeah, so there are many things I'm testing. Tempo, right? What is the tempo of sharing videos? You know, what is that like? What is commentary? Also exploring, you know, once I do start doing this at a more regular hour, and we've got some people in chat exploring some different ideas that have come to me and been presenting to me as what would be good ways to use, you know, this platform as well. So multifaceted, just like these rocks. All right, let's do this audio again, and I want to check something else.
Charlotte off camera, playing on a beautiful sand beach. This place is stellar, is what it is. All right, look up here.
If I'm completely honest, the reason I'm choosing these videos, I have several others set up that are of my current work, is I kind of springs in the air, you know, everything's green, and this place is, you know, where my mind goes and where I want to go. So I'm sort of living vicariously for a moment.
Ready-made fat wood as driftwood for the fire. Continue on. Metal. See the evidence here. Right there. Big sheet of it.
Okay, that is going to be the aspect.
Turn the music up, babe. We could have a soundtrack. No, wait a minute. Copyright.
I'm very disappointed about not being able to play
metal.
music.
See the grooves.
Okay.
That
All right.
weather.
Let's see if I can just turn that down a little.
Now, look on the back of this giant piece. After we take a look here, these blocks. You see.
So this is cool coming up.
Metal. See, it's like a debris field. All different flat bits, square bits, rounded bits with the grooving. There. All the way up from the water. Now I want to show you these anomalies. Hear me whispering again? It's something about this place. Look here on this rock.
Am I looking at what, sir?
Swirling from the metal.
All right, look at this. It's like tic-tac-toe.
If you follow me right up here.
Oh, are you looking?
See that
are you? Would you just look at it? Are you looking? Exactly. All right, let's go back for a second. Look at the back of this thing.
If you follow me right up here, we're going to see that exhibited on the back of this piece of rock. And what Charlotte said looks like tic-tac-toe board.
Yeah, so that's next. Okay, groovy. Groovy. Yes, I say groovy.
There it is.
Who doesn't? Yeah, right here. I'll continue with the Hippian vernacular dig on this, right? Check this out. What is this, and why is it on the bottom of this rock?
It's the metal, right? See these grooves from the metal, and here in these seams is where this metal's coming out.
Oh, my feet can feel it. I could be walking there now.
It's all with the layered quartz pebbles.
Yeah, the quartz. Huge mystery. Charlotte falling to the floor.
Chunk.
Apparently. Girls are here.
More of this same pattern.
Okay, so we've got video sharing down. I really could sit here all night. I'll give you guys a look. Let me see if this will follow me back. Right at so I've made tabs of my videos here for us. So Lookout Mountain has 146. This place is wild. I mean, would you again just look at it? Let's see. Does it? Does it? No, no, it's not a video. I've got a video of that. You see, I've got it all broken into tabs, and then further back here, what I'm currently working on, we have here Corn Creek, where it runs into the Coosa. But again, you see each of these folders are material for us here, and what I'm going to be doing with you guys. So there's plenty. Yeah, can you hear that? So there's a 13 going on 14-year-old streaming at the top of her lungs. However, also she requested that her boyfriend, that her friend Jonathan come over this weekend. So it's that age. There's no reason to run and check. It's crazy how quick it changes. That used to be something you'd want to run and check. So yeah. Okay, guys, so I'm going to run on and on. But hey, who cares, right? There's no one here to stop me. Wow. Okay, we said waterfalls, didn't we? Let's take a look at the waterfall. And that one's not going to play. Why aren't you going to play? Because you want me to see this one? Yeah, this one's going to play. Okay, so I there, tree buddy. It's supposed to be my buddy, man, and get off my ass. Sarcasm, obviously. There, you got your waterfall in, and I'm trying to read tabs and talk at the same time. All right, let's go back to stop stream, stop sharing. See, that is yet another purpose in all of this, is so that I become more efficient, not necessarily efficient, but learn my way around, don't accidentally mess anything up when I actually launch into the ideas I have for this, which is, if I'm able to do this a couple of times, 3 times, a week, then I hope to dedicate, 1 to 2 of those to backstory, right? Not only backstory, so let's say one of those would be backstory and lore, sort of, about how I got here, right? Because that opens up the spiritual, or brings in the spiritual components quite nicely, right? And then also that's, let's call it, second episode, the story of the things I have found, right, in a coherent manner. What's up, Jeff? It's all good. Just testing, bro. I did already give you a shout out. Excellent job with Michael earlier. Reminds me to shout out Michael's new book, Lost and Then Found, right? Yeah, go check that out. I've heard bits and pieces of his story because of interviews he's done with, Institute and all that, but powerful. That does bring me to another part of this, but let me stay on point for anybody watching this back. So that second episode, let's say theoretically, a week would be to get people caught up on the evidentiary and the full scope of the story of what I found. Not only the Mobilla and DeSoto and the native, but of course then the antediluvian, and get that sort of coherently and concisely put out, right? And then the, let's say, third episode, right, would be, I'd like to dedicate to, let's call it, it's hard to say what to call it, is the thing. But the reason Michael's book, Michael Collins' Wandering Wolf, and the book of his he discussed with Jeff earlier, Jeff up north, you see there in the chat. Let me highlight Jeff. Look, Jeff, I'm learning how to play with all the toys. Is really what I'm doing, so that when I get to actually doing this, I know what I'm doing. So we've got you there. Jeff has always been gracious. Jeff, I saw your mom was in your chat earlier, and how cool is that, bro? That's such a blessing. You should send her to Sedona in your place. That's what we should do. Michael, if you're listening, that's how she'd say it. Michael, bake Michael a pie, whatever his favorite one is, and get her to tickets to Sedona to represent the Jeff Up North clan. You know, there's not a lot of women I've noticed in the whole promotion of the quests, right? You know, they should. Sarah, Universe Unveiled, Jeff's mom. You know, we should do something about that. And there's probably a song in there. I'm going to quit about Jeff's mom because it is late, and you know we might get lewd, and we're going to go back to what a blessing that is. I'm serious though. You should send her tickets. Yeah, thanks for coming in to say hello, Jeff. I greatly appreciate it, and it was good to see your stuff earlier. So the third episode is, you know, I use this screen name Shaman, right? Let me say it this way. And that's multifaceted, right? Because that is a combination of walking with spiritual and material, but also in that word is you know, certain things are intrinsic. Anybody that knows anything about shamanic calling, chat's a little delayed. I see Sarah there laughing. Understands that there's a pain, you know, there's a theme of brokenness, of trials, right? In life at some point, and that's something echoed, I'm sure, expertly in Michael's book, but also in his life, right? Well, I know plenty of people like that in my life, right? Whose trials and whose brokenness has, like my own experience, has brought them through to a place of power, you know, of joy, of purpose, of passion, right? And I'm talking, you know, every day people, you know, but there is a strong trend that I have noticed and has been pointed out readily, that in this community, you know, that we find ourselves in, call it the alternative history, you know, history world, you know, all of this community of friends that we see here in the chat, that we all are, right, co-workers. Yeah, there's a theme of that. You know, there's either these wonderful younger people, you know, like we've got Jeff and Sarah. I know, Sarah, you've seen your trials in your short time. You know, Jeff, I'm sure you're so mature. You've had your lessons, right? But then you've got the dudes, you know, that are sort of where I'm at, I guess the bottom rung. I was born in 79, you know, and we've got some fucking bumpy ass shit back there, you know, that I think opened a level of consciousness, really, is the best way to term it, in all of us, and that translates in different ways, but it that was loud. Everybody okay? Okay. That's okay. That translates in different ways for each of us, right? But it is a theme that is readily noticeable if you spend any time watching the people in this community, or if you're fortunate enough to get to spend any time with them in person. It becomes obvious, you know, and there's a wisdom with it. It's part of what drew me, you know, to the general community, right? And I'm sure it's what draws many of the younger, which bring their own. Trust me on this. I mean, Sarah, goodness, she'll scare you with her wisdom, and the little I've been around Jeff in person. He's the same way, you know, these old souls. But I think what they're drawn to is the wisdom, right? The suck is where the magic happens. Exactly, Sarah. I often say that pain is the secret sauce, right? Is my way of saying it. And a phrase I picked up in Alcoholics Anonymous arena was that pain is necessary, but suffering is optional. and that is a mantra I try to live by. I'm known, at least I've heard from those that are watching. Brian Corey, last time I did this, said he tuned in for his daily dose of shaman's positivity, right? Which is a blessing, right? Because that's what I do hope to convey. But what must be touched upon, if one is to be honest, right, and to give others the chance of recognition, is that behind that is a great deal of pain, suffering, trials, that look different on an individual level. But, pain, like all things, is relative. You do not compare. You just see the themes, right, and the similarities. And they are certainly present here in this community, which is one of the things that has led me to be as comfortable as I am, doing what I'm doing, now, practicing, but practicing setting about the process of not only, telling the story of the evidence that I found, and hopefully to keep shout out Rubate, yeah, our local Aussie. It's not really local then, is he? If he lives halfway around the damn world, that would make him non-local Aussie. So thank you, editor. That's enough out of you. Just you stay in your chair. We're going to get back to our non-local Aussie is that I hopefully in a concise manner, right? But also to then spend a little bit of time honoring the experience, that has got me here, but gotten all of us here. I've tentatively titling this thing called Finding Things Within and Without. And that is because, as you see, the theme in my life has been finding things first within me, right? That raised consciousness and spiritual awareness. And there's Charlotte, and you got done to your 80s hair. It's down. Dude, she looked like she was in an 80s movie when I opened the door earlier on purpose. And it was like fantastic because she's always playing 80s music, which kind of, I don't know. And she must have died in the 80s last time around or something. But see, in my childhood, that's all the music I was listening to. So it's wild that it's actually a blessing, that at this time in her life, she's always playing the music that takes me back to my childhood. And then I walked in the bathroom tonight, and it was like I was looking at the 80s. And it's gone now. And modern Charlotte's back. How are you, babe? She laid down. It's all gone. And there's school tomorrow. What are you doing up there? You bang. What was that?
What are you doing?
Well, if you're gonna tell, I mean, I'm live. You gotta. They can't hear you. This microphone is very
10
noise
feet away. Here's the microphone, by the way.
noise cancelly. Is what it is.
From 10 feet away.
Yeah. Like you see, I have to do this. Like really. I don't know where has Rue been, Sarah. Go ahead, babe.
I actually am getting a snack and then take a shower.
Okay, sounds good.
That might go to sleep, you never know.
You never know. She'll go with no sleep whatsoever. She's a genius, and she's
I go to school, no sleep.
yeah. This next generation is it's a new breed. It's like all of our good qualities and none of our bad qualities, and they don't need anything. They just are. What's up, Karen? There's cousin Karen. She says hi. I seriously doubt you picked up. Otherwise, I'd say you were just on the show. I call it a show. I know it's a podcast, but I grew up in the 80s. That's what we called everything back then. A show, because that's what everything was. Yeah, it's a show. I mean, it's multimedia. It's a show. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to get back to what I was doing, I guess, and you get your snack. So I was talking about Rue, and I was, the editor jumped in. They're doing it very, very, very different. Very different. You guys don't know. See, I got to get better. So Sarah has, let's show this. Where has he been? Rue, where are you, bro? And is all well with you in all seriousness. Rue is a big, member of this community. They are. They're doing it very different, and I'm glad for it. It's wild to watch. We talk about like my generation, I sort of take pride in, right? 79, we went through everything, right? We went through a world with no cell phones. We went through, there was just payphone. We went through a world there was hardly any cable TV. Everything was a television show. And after Johnny Carson went off, fucking TV went off. Or was it Letterman? I don't remember, right? It was just different. And then we saw the advent of cell phones, and we quickly, because it was when we were in our, still late teens, early 20s, we were able to quickly, pick up on that. And then the email servers. And then as each new iteration came along, we sort of have been able to, we had that ingrained in us, that adaptation, right? But these they just know everything. They just, I don't know why we're here, honestly. Okay, what else did I need to test? So the last thing I needed to test, other than getting accustomed to running a 40-minute to an hour show and telling you guys everything I hope to do, so that means that third episode will involve people, locally that I know, I hope, that have agreed to talk. But also all of you guys, to hear more about your experience and sort of what got you to where we are all now here in front of each other, right? Which I think is important part of identification for us each, and it will help build community, which I think is really the point of everything at the end of the day, especially when you look at the world. I don't plan to talk much about current events because Lord knows that's just not a lot. Well, there's actually a lot to laugh about, isn't there? Just think about today. There's quite a bit to laugh about, but it also tends to be, outside of depressing, somewhat polarizing. And while I certainly do not intend to censor myself, my overreaching desire is community. So I don't wish to, although I will. I know I fucking will. I'm going to say some shit. It's just going to come out. And you're going to be like, there's going to be people pissed off. It's called being authentic. But hopefully everyone will know it's all said with nothing but love. And just me learning how to sort of be myself in a proper manner. Or a very fucking improper one, depending on the circumstances, here in front of this camera, live with you all. Did he just talk like that and just talk to his daughter? Does he really? Does he lecture her that with that mouth? Boy, the stories I could tell you. Now I can hear them giggling. Charlotte will tell you some stories one day about the time I offered to buy her an airplane ticket if she would go up to one of her teachers and tell them Merry fucking Christmas. She was like third grade. She wouldn't do it. So, there's a very different parenting style, which is we'll a little off topic, but I don't know. I think I'll let them speak for themselves. It's getting us pretty far. It's like anything, Follow your heart. Follow your heart. Follow your intuition. If I have one message for anybody, it's follow your heart, follow your intuition. And the last one is get out and look at all this stuff. All right, guys. So thank you, everybody that tuned in the chat. I don't know how to look at these numbers. The last thing I needed to successfully test is getting out of here and not destroying the evidence, which is precisely what I did yesterday by accident. I recorded it, and then it went away. So let's see. What did we miss in the chat? Anything? No, we didn't. And we've been at it for 50 minutes. We've announced our intent and purpose in a threefold manner here in this space, I think very plainly. Last episode, you heard from Isabella on the phone. This episode, you met Charlotte, so you have seen the crew introduced to you. And I have tested all the methods I have that I need to be live for thus far. I'm about to hit stop, lady. All right, no. This is why you need a Sarah. All right, love you guys. Thank you for tuning. I'm trying to find stop. Oh, stop's at the bottom, isn't it? Okay, let me do the plugs in case anybody's actually watching, Sarah. Then I'll press stop. So you've got your show coming up in 45 hours. What's that? A day and a half? Why is it four? Why does it? Anyway, yeah. So a day and a half, and then we've got what else do we have coming up this weekend? Saturday, I believe, is when. Oh, that's when Brian Corey Dobbs is. See, we've been doing the roundtable on Saturday. All right, we got to have a powwow about that. Yeah, not leave. I know, and then we just. That's probably what I did last night. Hey, thanks for showing up, Jeff. Appreciate it. Just getting my feet into this thing and figuring out what I'm going to do. And thank you, brother, very much for stepping in. Have a great evening yourself. Yeah, Saturday at 7. See, we've been doing the roundtable at 7. I know we started it Friday, and we had to switch it at 7 because somebody, I don't want to call him out, I think it was Vincent, but anybody, for one person it worked out better, and then everybody decided Saturday, hey, works better for all of us, so now we're Saturday. So you should probably talk to Ricardo and see if we can change that. So stay tuned, everybody. Friday or Saturday after the UU interview with Brian Corey Dobbs at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. It's not your bad. I mean, you know, we're all on the same team. Just holler at Ricardo, and we'll see what we can do about the round table. And then the Shaman and the Philosopher, because of Ricardo working so steadily now, has been sort of tossed around. So we're going to carry on with that. Should be Sunday nights. And then this, guys, I'm going to carry on at different hours and different days, and I'm going to see what works. Community, you know, we're going to see when folks show up and whether the after hours radio DJ voice is better suited for what I'm trying to accomplish, or if we need to get it in the morning right after the fucking coffee. Good night, guys. Thanks, Tree. Let's end it with that. Thanks for joining me, and thanks for continuing to join me. I love each and every one of you, and get some sleep. We'll see you all. We got a busy weekend of shows. Good night, guys.